Hello. Wow, look at this. This is very exciting. Welcome to another Nemarin Live in a world that seems to be slowly but surely, fingers crossed, getting a little bit better out there. But yeah, we are still here. We're still live streaming to LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, Twitter, all over the place. As you could probably tell, I am not Pete, so apologies if that's who you're expecting and you're looking forward to your weekly dose of the Fergatron. But I'm Tom. I'm one of the producers here at Nemarin, and I will be talking to you today about B2B videos. There's a bit of a false perception, I think it's a false perception, that B2B videos are more boring or more basic than B2C videos. I think sadly, they do get a little bit overlooked by clients. But here at Nemarin, we're firm believers in the power of B2B videos. And we think that there's obviously no reason why we can't invest as much creativity and fun, I suppose, into B2B videos as well. And we're going to be talking today about thinking outside the box when it comes to your business-to-business communications, why video marketing works well for business to business. I will be showing some examples as well. We'd love you guys to get involved. So as always, please comment wherever you are. Pete is asking where Pete is. Obviously, he is having a well-earned day off. So you should be able to comment on the post on LinkedIn. If you're in the event, hello, welcome. You should find us all over the place. Feel free to comment, ask questions, and we will cover them during the course of the next half an hour. So who are we talking to today? Well, firstly, we have a very special guest live with us today. We have Azhar Hussain from Hanhar. Hello, Azhar. How are you doing today?
Hello. Hi, Tom. Looking forward to this and looking forward to sharing more of our story.
Great. So we've worked with Azhar a few times now, and he's seen firsthand the power of creative B2B videos. So we'll get into that. And we also have Graham, our Nemarin's own COO and Director of Content. Hello, Graham.
Hello, Tom. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Very well, thank you. Yeah, this should be good. Looking forward to having a little chat with Azhar and maybe exploding some myths about B2B videos.
Definitely. So, all right. Well, let's kind of get started by having a little chat with Azhar. There, maybe Azhar's drawn the short straw today. But Azhar, we go way back. Nemarin and Hanhar obviously kind of have a similar timeline in terms of company history. When we were a similar size back in the same office, we obviously worked together, and you came to us for some help for a video to showcase your product. So I'm kind of interested to hear about that initial decision, why you decided to make a video, and maybe you could tell us a little bit about the product and kind of how this campaign came about.
Thanks, Tom. Yeah, we started more or less at the same time. We shared the office over in St. Catherine's Dock. It seems like forever ago now, and it's great to see Nemarin has grown to where you guys are today, given I saw you guys at the desk behind us not that long ago. So that's great. So I'm Azhar Hussain. I'm from Hanhar, and our product is called Parcel Life, which looks like this in its physical manifestation. And essentially, we're a company that specializes in delivering insights for logistics companies, which is obviously a hot topic right now with COVID and Brexit. But essentially, our technology helps organizations understand what is the quality of their supply lines, where their stuff is, has it been opened, damaged, broken, but it does it globally, and it does it with a level of granularity which helps them make not just operational decisions, but also make some strategic changes if they need to improve their overall performance. And a little bit about how the product works. So essentially, we don't sell the hardware, but we do manufacture this tag. It looks like this. This is Parcel Life. And essentially, companies subscribe to a data stream from us. As part of their subscription, they receive these things at their points of dispatch, wherever that happens to be in the world. These things arrive. They're injected into the shipment that they want to track and monitor. And as the shipments move through the world, this is now giving a live feedback of what's happening. So there's a whole range of sensors in here. It's connected to cellular networks, and it allows you to understand what is the velocity of your shipment at each stage, irrespective of who's carrying it. So on a plane, on a boat, on a truck, on a train, you get an insight of all of that, including how many steps a guy's holding if he's walking with your box. When it arrives at its destination somewhere in the world, the person takes it out, and basically you see a label here. This label changes for the postal system of that country. And what they then do is they put it in a mailbox. And these tags then use the global postal network as a kind of an autopilot to find their way back home. And when they come back to us, we recycle, refurbish them, and give them to a new customer. In the meantime, the original customer gets a fresh batch of devices to keep their monitoring going. Mm-hmm. So that's the 30,000 feet view. And it was when we came up with this thing back in 2014-15, this concept didn't really exist. So we had to educate our users, and we needed a really interesting, fun way to really explain what we wanted. I was very keen on having a short, sharp, 2-minute message to really get our point across and explain how the complexity that hitherto existed in that environment had all been absorbed by us, and what the customer really experienced was the benefits and the utility of the solution without all the overhead that came with running it. And that's what the video we made with you guys was meant to illustrate.
Brilliant. So it sounds like it was kind of taking this very large scale process and concept and something that's like very in depth and a lot of detail, and kind of really trying to boil it down into that sort of 2-minute key messaging so that people just got it straight away. Is that right?
Yes, we had to educate. So our audience up to that point had been very used to a very different way of monitoring. Either they were depending on other people to supply them with data, so that's barcodes and things, and somebody had to tell them where their stuff was and what was happening to it, or they were buying basically widgets that they were having to take on, put in the box, but then they had to worry about either getting it back or they were throwing them away, and it was just a very dysfunctional situation. And we came along with a solution which allowed us to really deliver value for our users, but it did it in a kind of a new way. So it turned what was traditionally a very a widget-driven thing into a data insight-driven thing. And I wanted an interesting way of sharing that concept with our users.
Brilliant. Well, let's take a little look at the final product then. This is the video that we made for you, which was a combination of 2D animation and stop motion animation. Let's have a look.
Thousands of companies and millions of people are sending billions of parcels every year. Each parcel sent is a promise of a safe, timely and secure delivery. But knowing if that promise is being kept is no easy task. Until now. Here's Parcel Live by Hanha. It matches its small size with a big reach. Parcel Live is packed with state-of-the-art microsensors. Moisture sensors that know if the parcel is wet. Temperature sensors that know if it's too hot or cold. Impact sensors that can detect if the parcel has been dropped. Tilt sensors that know if the parcel has been stored on its side. Light sensors say whether it's been opened, and of course, GPS knows exactly where it is. And all of these sensors are constantly recording, constantly sharing, creating a direct relationship with your parcels globally. But it's not just for the single delivery of a single parcel. We can use the data from that single Parcel Live to create a deep understanding and drive performance across your entire network for all your deliveries. Adding Parcel Live to just a sample of your parcels unlocks your ability to transform your customer delivery experience. This is the power of truth at scale. So, whether you're shipping time-critical components to far-flung factories or temperature-critical pharmaceuticals to where they are needed most, for the first time, Parcel Live puts you at the heart of your delivery network anywhere in the world at the moment you need it most. And when the journey is over, your recipient simply pops Parcel Live in the post, no stamps or packaging required. it's ready to begin a new journey, making it better for the environment and better for you. Delivering truth at scale with profitable, practical innovation. This is Parcel Live. We are Hanha. Be part of it.
Nice. That's a really. I think that. I mean, you know, I was obviously involved in making it, so you know, I can kind of speak at length. But I think that's quite a good way of boiling down quite a complex process into just a couple of minutes. But tell me, kind of, what was the main goal of making this video, this B2B video? Who was the audience, and what did you want to achieve from it?
Well, I think one of the great things has been that over the years, we still use that video. And even though the products kind of changed and become more advanced, the quality of that video to really introduce ourselves has really stood the test of time. So originally it was about educating the market. So we put a lot of marketing ad behind it to get it out to key decision makers that we wanted to reach. Then it became a calling card for our sales leads generation, and it's now a big part of that. And today we use it really as a primer for meetings, for sales, for introductions of what we do. And even though over the last that video is now 6 years old, I think. Yeah. Even though over the last 6 years we've now clearly a far more advanced company than we were then. That video has still been an excellent calling card for us, and we continue to use it. So its function has changed over time, but I think it's a testament to how good the original execution was that we've been able to use it again and again, and repurposing it. It still seems to work as time goes on.
That's great. So it's an interesting style of doing B2B videos. It's not something that you see particularly often, but I'm curious, why did you go with this creative route as opposed to interviewing yourself, explaining the products like you're doing now, for example?
We had a vision that we only just wanted it to be 2 minutes. At that point, we didn't have the customers we have now. We didn't really have the scale of penetration that we have today. So while we were coming out, it didn't seem like we would be able to deliver a kind of a real life visual that could really show the ambition of what we were aiming to achieve. This execution, where we mixed the animation and a bit of live, what's that called? Live stop art, clip art,
stop motion. Yeah.
Stop motion. There you go. So mixing stop motion with that, I think, just gave it enough of a quality, enough of a zing, and it allowed us to focus on the message. The goal of this video wasn't to sell the product. The goal of this video for us was to get the meeting. And that's all these videos meant to do. Our solution is quite, although it's simple in showing it, but when you adopt it, there is a certain complexity, and our customers tend to be large organizations. They're not about to make a buying decision over a 2-minute video. So the 2-minute video is really to get us in the room, get us at the table, make sure everybody's quickly up to speed with what we're doing. And then we use other material to really expand on the other capabilities, our references, customers, how we do it. That is really a separate thing. That's why we wanted to make the video short, wanted to make it punchy, didn't really want to include anybody, nobody knew us really, and really to focus on the story, focus on the attributes, and focus on what the end goal was.
Brilliant. So it wasn't a replacement, it wasn't the only piece of marketing collateral you had, but it was something that kind of wraps the whole concept up in one sort of product that lets you, open those doors to other conversations.
Exactly. It's just a primer. It was really about, and the other thing we wanted with this video, actually, now that I think about it, is also typically in our environment, there isn't one person who makes a buying decision. So you have the person that you're engaged with, but they typically will have other stakeholders across the organization. And this video was a very easy thing for them to forward on internally to other people who could very quickly get to grips with it, see what it was. those individuals, English might not be their first language. They might be in other countries, other time zones. All of these things, other cultures, all of these things meant we wanted a video that could travel well internally to really move our message across the organization to all the different stakeholders we need to reach.
Brilliant. And how was it received in general by these people that you were targeting, by these potential clients? Was it, did people get it? Did it lead to any new business?
Well, we're here 6 years later, and we're selling, there's thousands of these things now going out every week. And some of our customers are the largest in the world in their particular sectors. So yeah, it's worked. We still use it today. We're very proud of it. I don't know, on YouTube now, I should have checked. I don't know how many thousands of views it's had, but it's been super happy.
Great. That's really cool. And that's a great example of how I suppose some doing something a little bit different and something very targeted has led to some really tangible results. But Graham, giving you the microphone now, because you've been sitting there very quietly. B2B video marketing, do B2B videos have a bit of a stigma about them? And if so, why? And if not, tell me I'm wrong.
No, I think you're probably broadly correct. It's a bit of a generalization, but I would say that B2B video marketing has historically probably not been as creatively innovative as consumer advertising. Now, in some ways, that's understandable. If I'm in my work role, I'm looking to research, I don't know, a new piece of camera kit or something like that. I'm actively seeking out information. I'm leaning forward. I'm gathering information that's either relevant to my role, or it could be a training video, something to develop my professional career. So if I'm a brand producing that content, it's very easy to think, well, if I build it, they will come. There are people actively looking to research my industry or my sector or my company or even my product. Therefore, I don't need to be quite as creatively innovative or spend as much money as a consumer brand might have to. So that, I think, has led in the past. I think things are definitely changing. There have been pioneers over the years, such as Azar. But I think historically, the production values have been a little bit lower and the creativity a little bit less refined, I suppose. And therefore, I think that stigma does persist. We've all had enough of videos of predominantly stale, pale males in suits and ties sitting in a badly lit office, talking at great length about their new widget, falling into the trap of thinking that, I really care about this stuff and expecting everybody else to care as much as they do, which of course is often not the case.
Totally agree. And just a reminder for those who are watching, if you have any questions, any tips, or if you just want to heckle us, then please do comment on the posts wherever you're watching, LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, and so on. But for now, let's take a look at another little B2B video. This was an interesting one. This was a 2D animation that we made a while ago for a podcast business called Audio Boom. And the brief that they had was that they didn't want to go into a boardroom and speak to potential investors about, just their product in general. They wanted to really capture that attention in a very short space of time. So they needed something different and creative. So let's take a little look at the video for Audio Boom.
Hi there. So what's Audio Boom and podcasting all about? Well, every day, millions of people in the USA, UK, and around the world get in their car, train, office, bed, and turn on their smartphone.
Hey Siri.
Tablet.
Okay Google.
Laptop.
Let's play a podcast.
And importantly, home digital assistant.
Alexa, find me today's news.
And listen to digital audio delivered direct to the listener on demand. Since 2010, young people have been abandoning traditional radio in their millions, instead selecting their own hand-picked content via phones and other devices, just like people watch TV on demand through Netflix or Amazon Prime. These listeners are young, wealthy, and highly engaged. Gold dust for advertisers. By the end of 2017, 40% of all audio listening will be on demand. Podcasting and on-demand audio will become a multi-billion-dollar industry, and advertisers love the medium.
The shows we work with on Audio Boom typically give us a 23% better CPA than our other shows.
And now we're even talking to our devices thanks to virtual helpers like Siri, Alexa, Google Assistant, and Microsoft Cortana. Google predicts that by 2020, half of all internet searches will be done by voice only, without keyboards or screens, meaning results and all content will have to be delivered and consumed in audio. Currently, the search industry is worth a staggering $70 billion in ad spend per year. If half of that revenue moves to audio-delivered content, we're looking at enormous growth in the very near future. Companies like Google, Amazon and Microsoft are going to need access to huge, fresh audio libraries to power their devices. Audioboom is the only true global digital audio company. We are Google Play's only global content partner, a development partner with Apple iTunes, and distribute to Spotify, Deezer, and beyond. With over 4,000 content partners around the world, currently uploading over 700 hours of new audio every day, reaching more than 90 million people in 200 countries every month, and delivering 400% revenue growth year on year. Podcasts are exploding. It's an audio boom.
Very witty last line there, but it's an audio boom indeed. So that was an interesting one then. So Graham, I suppose, why should clients be thinking differently about their B2B content? Because we've seen two kind of still similar examples of B2B videos in terms of style, 2D animation, stop motion, a little bit of sort of 2.5D in there, we like to call it. But these were both met very positively and had good direct results. And obviously very different to the kind of interviews and stuff like that that you mentioned previously. But why should clients be thinking differently about their B2B content? Why should they invest in something like this?
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, I guess you can get away with less polished video content, particularly on platforms like LinkedIn, where the production values may not need to be so high. I think that's particularly true if you don't have that much competition. As I said before, there will be people out there actively seeking information about you and your products or an industry sector. So it is arguable that you don't always have to go to that sort of that level of creativity and refinement. On the other hand, B2B video marketing is exploding. Now, ever since the day LinkedIn allowed video uploads, more and more brands have started looking at that platform as a way to reach audiences. And of course, video is a particularly effective way of doing that. And the more brands that pile in, the harder you're going to have to work to grab people's attention. So I would say that in the way that Azar has, in the way that Audio Boom did with that video, you really have to up your game if you're going to, as I say, grab the attention of your potential customers. I think the other point is that you also need to remember that we all like to think we're rational, particularly with our work hats on, that we make purchasing decisions based on the best information at any given time that's available. But all purchasing decisions are a mixture of rational and emotional. Apple, I tend to always end up talking about Apple on these LinkedIn lives, but anyway, it's probably because I'm surrounded by Apple products, the strengths of the brand, you see. If you look at Apple, an Apple Mac and a PC do broadly the same things. I know they have slightly different functionality and they work in slightly different ways, but fundamentally, as productivity tools, they do the same thing. An iPhone and a Samsung Galaxy do the same thing. And yet no one queues outside PC world when Dell releases a new laptop or Samsung releases a new iPhone, a new phone. Why is that? It's because people love Apple in the way they just don't love Samsung or Dell or Microsoft or any of those other products. But a lot of that is to do with brand perception, of course. Basically, Apple have made people feel a certain way about that brand and their products. And video has played a really important part in doing that because video as a medium is extremely good at triggering emotion. A brochure probably doesn't do that. A white paper doesn't do that. You can't really even do that at an event. A video can really create that feeling in your target audience and make them love you. And brands of all types need love, B2C or B2B. Nobody really is in a position where they don't have any competitors. So you have to win the rational debate, but you also have to trigger those emotions and get people sort of you need to be a magnet, really. You need to draw people towards you, and video is just a brilliant way of doing that.
I love that. I love that idea of using emotions as well for audiences, because the people, I suppose the people that are in charge of making decisions in these businesses, the target audience for business content, they're still people as well, and they still, even if they're sort of in a very corporate setting, they're still emotional animals. So and so would you say it's kind of, you mentioned earlier that since LinkedIn introduced video uploads, native video uploads, has there been a need to, I suppose, cut through the noise? Has there been an increase in B2B marketing?
Without a shadow, yeah. I mean, just judging by my own LinkedIn feed now, I'd say 1 in every half dozen, or maybe 1 in every 10 posts is video. Some of them aren't that well produced. If you happen to have a very charismatic CEO or other spokesmen within the business who can deliver really compelling pieces to camera, then that's great. You can use that. You can post every day. We've been, since the lockdown, doing far more of these sorts of things. Obviously, they're very slick. There's a lot going on in the background, but probably wouldn't get on TV, for example, not quite like this. So just make a virtue of the medium. But video is a great way of, as I say, conveying that thought leadership, triggering those emotions, as well as passing on some rational, practical information. So yeah, video marketing has definitely increased, partly thanks to LinkedIn, but not only because of that. YouTube is also clearly a great platform for these sorts of messages, and it's not going to end anytime soon. If anything, it's just going to grow and grow and grow.
Great. And Azar, just turning back to you briefly, you mentioned that you've been using your video since, even though it was made a few years ago, which is great. So it's obviously kind of got this timeless evergreen style. Do you have any future plans for video, or is this one doing a stand-up job?
No, we're doing a lot more. We have done some in the interim, but we're doing a lot more now. We've some of our clients have made videos as well, which they've done showing our product in action. One of our big customers is a shipping company called Hellman's. They've done a video which has gone a bit global with drones and whatnot, where they've shown our technology helping them understand where their stuff is. But definitely we'll be making more videos. It's been incredibly useful. I think one thing we're going to do next time is perhaps look at the multilingual aspect of it. We're now in different markets. When we made this video, we were thinking at the time not to put too many cultural references in there, and not to put any wording in there too much, so that we could dub on other languages and it could work in other places. Whilst we didn't do that with that one, with the next one, we definitely are looking to that. We now have customers in China. We have customers now in South America, and it's in the Far East. It's not right to just have English as the only way of doing that. So that's kind of some of the things we're looking at now. And if we do live action videos, definitely want to have actors as well from different regions of the world.
Brilliant. Yeah, that's a great example of how a content strategy can evolve in line with the business growing as well. So that's really, really exciting. Well, we're pretty much coming towards the end of this now. It's been really, really interesting to speak to you. Graham, I just wondered if you had any final comments, final little tips or nuggets of wisdom for our audience about how to use B2B videos.
I'm not sure I can quite claim these nuggets of wisdom, but and as I mentioned there about potentially using actors, I think that's a really interesting idea. We've worked with some other brands who have done that, because it can be hard if you're in a marketing department to tell your CEO that he or she may not be the best person to represent the company on video, but that is often the case. As I said before, they tend to be so ingrained into the culture of the business and know its ins and outs that sometimes that lack of distance means they're not able to tell the story. This is always about storytelling, isn't it? As I said right at the top, that video that we showed early on doesn't go into the nuts and bolts of how the product works. It tells you enough about it that you want to then go and find out more. It's quite easy if you are the CEO and you're reading off an auto cue, or somebody like me or you, Tom, are interviewing them, you just slip into detail, and that isn't always the best use of video content. So I would say, first nugget of wisdom, remember that the CEO may not be the best spokesman for the company. I think the second thing is if you're doing live action rather than animation, think very carefully about where you're going to have it shot. we've visited far too many very bland corporate environments with white walls and no views and just nothing to make it look visually arresting. Video is a visual medium, therefore the backdrop has got to be as compelling as the person who's articulating the message, whatever that may be. So yes, think about the location. But finally, I think, B2B videos are incredibly powerful marketing tools when they're used in the right way and created in the right way. But there are just too many that look the same. There's too much Me Tooism going on, too much reliant on the same cliched stock footage, too many, again, predominantly white males in ties talking for far too long about things that are of marginal interest to most people. So just think outside the box. That would be my final piece of advice. And make your brand stand out. You want people to love you. So use video to make your potential clients and existing clients love you.
Brilliant. Azar, any final words of advice based on your own experience?
I would tell people, please plan properly. If you've be respectful of the budget and the resources that you have. We can't all make a kind of a Michael Bay type thing happen. So go be realistic. And if you are going to have longevity in the video, do have some thinking about how you can make the material last longer by dubbing languages. If you're going to be other places, don't put too many cultural references that may not travel well or may not live beyond that time. When we made our video, we didn't expect to still be using it 5 years later. The fact that we are is also a little bit lucky that we made the video the way that we did, and it allowed us to keep using it. And that would be my thing. I thoroughly recommend it. Keep it short is my only other thing. I mean, people don't have time. I actually think 2 minutes, our video is about 2 minutes something. And I remember at the time, Tom, we argued a lot what we could cut to get it under 2 minutes. So my hope was every frame there, every second that we used it to move the story along, because you just can't, time is so short and you've just got to focus on what you've got to get out. So there's so many lessons, but that's my tuppence.
That's great. No, I totally agree. Yeah, and I suppose it kind of comes back to what Graham was saying earlier about there being so much noise out there. If you want to grab people's attentions, you can't necessarily sit around for so long. So short, concise, to the point, and think outside the box. Brilliant. Well, thank you very much, Azar, and thank you very much, Graham. This has been your Friday Nemarin Live. If you have any ambitions to make B2B video, then absolutely get in touch. You can email hello@nemarin.com. You can go to our website to see what we've been doing, or you can give us a call on 0330 122 4714. That's it for today. Thanks very much. We'll leave you with our show reel.
Nemarin Film and Video,
the world's branded video agency.
2020 showreel.
I always wanted to be a storyteller.
I knew I wanted to do something more creative,
something really magical.
Everything is about the rhythm.
Ow! Sheer publicity.
Okay, so the faces thing?
Yeah.
There is no comparison to beauty. And you will never get bored of it.
Nemarin.